here's Brody Brazil.
This video is a follow-up to my continuing coverage of the Twins' deadline day fire sale 2025. And oh man, the meme game has been absolutely cruel, not just to the Twins, but really the fans must hate seeing this, although this is probably their sentiment. That Spirit Halloween meme, like when a company's going out of business and they've vacated the place, well, that kind of feels like Target Field right now. So as much as I'm not laughing at this or not trying to laugh with this, I've been on that side of it. I mean, this exact meme was made of the Oakland Coliseum year after year when the A's were doing the same thing, flipping the present for potentially a promise of the future. It is not a very good feeling. However, I do have to say that if you can take a step back, if you can take yourself out of this situation, the old Spirit Halloween sign on Target Field or anywhere else, it is a quality meme. But kind of going back to everything that happened with the Minnesota Twins franchise, not just yesterday, but the last couple days and all of their moves leading up to the deadline, the trade deadline of July 31st, now there's kind of a piece of news that goes with it that makes a lot of sense. Interesting, the timing of how this came out, when this came out, where it came out, via Front Office Sports, and they do a tremendous job covering the business aspects of sports. But they have the exclusive on this, saying the Minnesota Twins executed one of the most aggressive deadline teardowns in recent memory, trading 8 players on the deadline day and 11 total in the last week. Behind the scenes, and here's the most important part, there continues to be momentum, that exact word momentum used, toward a sale of the franchise, according to a source familiar with the matter. The Pohlad family has owned this team for multiple generations. Back in October of 2024, they said, it's going up for sale. We're going to try and put this team in the right hands for the future. And the sale hasn't happened yet. To some question, maybe to some concern, but obviously we're tying in what happened yesterday and the fire sale and the teardown of the team, whatever you want to call it, the complete obliteration of the 26-man roster. It has to tie in with the pending sale of this team. Now we're getting kind of this report saying that there's momentum, saying that the sale of the team might actually be inevitable by the end of this baseball season. More as we continue here. The series of trades certainly shed millions of dollars in salary, which will financially benefit the Pohlads, the owning family of the team, this year by lessening their salary obligations, but it is not expected to impact the sale process, a source tells Front Office Sports. And that was kind of my first inclination, is that the Pohlads had already shopped the team around. They found and heard from maybe potential suitors that we'd rather come into this team and have a little bit more of a blank canvas. And so we don't want to buy this team with the high-value contracts that already exist. We'd rather come into this with a little bit of a lower payroll, a fresh start, build it how we want to. And really, if you look at the core and the nucleus of this Twins team, it kind of started back in around 2019 or so. That's when the I say current group, the now former group, was starting to be assembled. They made the playoffs a couple times this year. As of a couple days ago, right before the deadline, they were only 5.5 games out of a wild card spot in the American League. But the bottom line is, you'd have to think to some degree that the sale of the team and the trade obliterations they made to the roster are somehow connected. We continue with the article. In fact, there could be news on that front, the sale front, within a matter of weeks, the source told Front Office Sports. So just to be clear, we're now hearing right after all these trades, right after all these moves, not from the Twins officially, but somebody has leaked this out, that the sale is almost inevitable, and maybe we'll hear more on that. There's momentum on a sale all of a sudden when for months and months we hadn't heard any real traction at all. Here's a letter from the Twins president of baseball operations. This went out to everybody as of, I think, this morning, who says, quote, "This week we made a clear and deliberate decision to strengthen the next chapter of championship caliber baseball for the Minnesota Twins. We didn't make surface moves, obviously not. We acted with purpose. That meant adding players who can help now. There's some questions about that. Deepening our talent pipeline for 2026 and beyond. That's probably more accurate. And reinforcing the foundation for long-term success. This wasn't about patchwork or small adjustments. It was about holding ourselves to the standard we expect." But I mean, you were a team aspiring to the playoffs and that wasn't your standard? You didn't want to build on what you had. You tore it down basically to the studs. Anyway, the season so far hasn't met that mark. We knew it was time to respond. We've bolstered our pitching. We added arms ready to contribute now, along with others on the cusp of breaking through. The rotation has gained depth, and the minor league system behind it has become even more robust, with emerging talent pushing the group forward. The president, Derek Falvey, goes on to say, on the position player side, we brought in impact potential, players with the tools to grow into everyday contributors and raise the overall ceiling of the roster. The foundation is getting stronger, and we believe the next wave is starting to take shape. We could just kind of put the next wave together because you traded basically a third of your roster away, your active roster away. We know moves like this spark reactions. Of course they do. That's natural. It reflects how much you care. That's why we're positioning the Twins to compete at a higher level, not just in the short term, but in a way that can endure the ups and downs of a long season. That's the kind of team you deserve. The mission hasn't changed. We're here to build a team that can win a World Series. This is the next push. Thank you for your support. It's your passion that drives us every day. Signed, Derek Falvey. Now, again, that's all what a fan might want to hear, but just the timing of this to come out the day after the trade deadline. And here's where we get into my takeaways. The truth is, the absolute truth of all of this is that in some way, like I said before, the sale of the team, the pending sale of the team, shaped the deadline fire sale. Those two things don't necessarily exist independently of each other. There is a connection. Whether potential buyers wanted less money on the books, whether the Pohlad family thought that a sale would be easier if there was less money on the books. I don't know the exact answer. We may never get to the ultimate root of it, but you do have to understand and agree that those two things are connected and that the sale of the team absolutely was the cause of this fire sale. What if somebody was considering buying the team and they were like, oh, Carlos Correa, he is my guy even for the next couple years. And then you traded him away, kind of on a salary dump situation. So it's very clear. Nobody can deny that. Nobody will also admit that on the inside, but that's exactly what happened here. In my opinion, even if there is momentum of a sale, and even if we do find out more about that in the coming weeks, if that's how it was described, it is not appropriate to have the sale of a baseball team announced at this point. Like, first half of the season, pre-All-Star break, okay, optimally, you'd rather handle that during spring training or right before the season started. I think the Orioles had that situation 2 seasons ago. But the bottom line is there's kind of an appropriate time of when to and absolutely when to not do this. During the second half of the season is not an appropriate time to announce that. Even if the deal is done and handshakes have happened and the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, again, that's too much of a distraction to the actual baseball season going on. So announce it at the end of the season. And that's why I'll be paying attention to the final couple days of September, the first couple days of October. That's when it would make sense that a sale of the Twins has happened. It can actually happen and take place in August or September. That's fine. I don't care. Just don't announce it until after game 162. Or if the Twins do make the playoffs, could you imagine that? I saw somebody post that in the comments. Imagine now the Twins making the playoffs after having more than a third of their roster traded away. That would be a Hollywood story, a Hollywood movie. I don't think that's going to happen now, especially. But my point is, don't announce it until the Twins are done playing baseball this season. I do understand how a team might turn over a roster and decide that we've expended ourselves and this group is just not going to get us there. And I do understand a franchise like starting the next chapter. I get that. But doing it entirely at the trade deadline? You know what I'm saying? Like the offseason might have been a more appropriate time to collect some value out of your current players or think more appropriately about these moves. The trade deadline is usually the most expensive time to make transactions. And whether you're buying or selling, it feels like the deals are just not as well, I don't want to say thought out, but the value is usually more one-sided. If you're grading trades, a lot more often they are one-sided right before the trade deadline rather than in the offseason. So the timing of this, again, ties back to me, the sale of the team. Why not just wait until the offseason? Well, because you wanted to do this to sweeten the deal of the sale, which, by the way, is not complete yet. These moves, I guarantee, are going to impact the business of Twins baseball and season tickets and fan interest. And why did you rip our team apart? Now it's got to take 4 or 5 years to get maybe even back to a winning record, potentially. I know the Twins think that they've bolstered but that's how everybody feels optimistic right after you made a bunch of moves. It remains to be seen how exactly that's going to play out. I don't think the Twins got hosed entirely in all their deals, and just looking at the grades and evaluations and what do any of us know in the media industry of how it's going to play out. You get a general idea that they probably didn't make out like kings in this, but these moves are going to impact people's excitement about the team and the business and their success in ticket sales and everything else in the next couple of years. And the final point I want to make here is that this purchase, it's taken already almost a year, but you can understand why. A lot of things are in the way. The debt, the like $450 million of debt that the Twins are apparently carrying as a business, the pending lockout that might happen after the 2026 season. So after next season, imagine buying into a Major League Baseball franchise like right now, having it for this one upcoming season, 2026, and then potentially, knock on wood, I hope it doesn't happen, potentially shutting down all of Major League Baseball for all of 2027. Now you're losing money, you're in the red, you're paying for things that you're not getting anything back in return, you're not playing games, you're not selling tickets, none of that stuff. Not to mention the TV rights just went away for the Minnesota Twins. They do their own television broadcast now, probably lost a heavy 8-figure amount from Bally Sports North, who used to televise their games. All of that has made the sale messier. So maybe, just maybe, trading away most of the players, getting the salary to a very manageable number, maybe all of that cleans up what at one point was kind of a messy sales situation. So yeah, there it is once again, the old Spirit Halloween store. Shout out to Spirit, by the way. I mean, when I was a kid, Spirit, I don't think they existed. It was more like my teenage years. They are such a part of this time of year, like getting ready for Halloween, well, almost, maybe in September, getting ready for Halloween and the spirits pop up everywhere. You just don't want a spirit to pop up at your Major League Baseball stadium, if you know what I mean. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Also, thumbs up while you're down there. Helps me, the video, and the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. I would love to see you back here next time.